races, we got there really early, way before it started, and got all signed in and everything, and we went and had breakfast at the Egg Harbor Cafe, and I thought that place was kind of cute, and they had these little mugs that said Egg Harbor Cafe on them, and I wanted to get a couple of mugs. I did not end up doing that, but I thought that was kind of a cute thing that they had there. So that was Naperville, Illinois 5K. And then the next one that I have here is another 5K. And this one was from the Trenton, Michigan Summerfest. And Trenton, Michigan is about a half an hour away from Detroit. And it's another kind of suburb type neighborhood. And this race was part of a series. And so you can see that this was pie-shaped finisher medal. And if you did the entire series, which was in a bunch of different cities, you would get another piece of the pie, and when it was all done, you would have this big kind of pizza with all these slices, and all of the pictures matched up. But this was the only one that I did in this series, so this is the only piece of the pie that I got. And apparently some of the races in this series were an 8K. The one I did was 5K, and it actually says Trenton here in the flags, so probably if you did other ones, it would have whatever city you were in. But this one also went through the downtown area and a park and neighborhoods, and then it ended up back in the little downtown area, and they had a street fair and food stands and live entertainment, and this was the kickoff to Summerfest. So they had a little street fair after the race, and that lasted, I think, for the rest of that day. And the next one that I have here is a Bull's Head. This one was Bull Dam Trail Run 5K. And Bull's Dam is a man-made reservoir that was built in 1941, and it was to supply water to that area, and it's located in northeast